You know, we had a chance to speak with a former White House Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus here, who, hasn't been inside the White House bubble for about 7 months or so, but he very much has a line to the president himself. He says he speaks with Trump about every 5 days or so and really understands his thinking and says what you're hearing from the White House right now on the issue of trade deficits and tariffs is really classic Trump. As Reince Priebus said it, this is something the president raised in the White House every 2 weeks when he was there. This is something he campaigned on. The question is, what we're seeing from the White House right now, is this a genuine effort to try and address the trade deficit, or is this part of a broader negotiating tactic to get more favorable deals out of it, whether that's with China or whether that's with countries here in Asia like South Korea? We put that question to Reince Priebus. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I certainly think it's always a negotiation with President Trump. I think he likes putting all of his pieces on the table, like he did initially, and saying we're going to have a blanket tariff on steel and aluminum. And then slowly but surely you saw he pulled Canada off the table, he pulled Mexico off the table, had a conference call with the Australian Prime Minister, pulled them off the table. I think it's the type of thing the president wants to do, put people on their heels and say, I'm going to tackle this trade imbalance once and for all. People have been talking about it for decades. And it's something he's talked about since 1980. So it's not like this is a new policy. Everyone likes to talk about populism and nationalism. This is Trumpism.
Things could certainly get a lot more personal, given the reports that's coming out of the White House that they are set to unveil the $60 billion in additional tariffs placed on Chinese goods, going after the tech companies, the telcos, and the IP. The question is, what kind of concessions does China need to make to really get the White House to back off? Is this really all just about intellectual property, or does China need to go even further? Take a listen to Priebus's answer there.
What we need to do, and what folks here in Asia need to do, is just sit back and wait and see. And number one, be patient. Number two, play ball. Work with the president. Talk to him about what the issues are in your country. And you know what, more times than not, if you watch his actions, he'll put the marker down on the table, but if you watch his actions, if you present a reasonable argument to the president, he will tend to compromise individually, one-on-one, on a bilateral basis. That I think people should understand.
Now, China has, at least publicly, made it clear they are willing to play ball, at least if that means coming to the table. We did hear from Premier Li Keqiang yesterday saying that they are open to discussions, but he made it very clear China believes this needs to be a two-way track. If China needs to make the concessions, well, there are concessions they are looking for on the U.S. side as well. Priebus not very clear on how much the White House is willing to budge, at least when it comes to the issue of the trade deficit with China. But of course, we will be watching very closely for that White House announcement expected on Thursday or Friday this week.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch another great video from CNBC International. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.